Hey folks, Jerohn Garnett here. Hope you all are doing good. Hope you all quarantining. Listen, get out them streets. Stay at the house. It's just safer. I'm here with the wonderful, the awesome, one of the coolest guys, man. Just cool.
Thank you.
My brother Jimmy Ford.
Thank you, Jerohn.
My brother Jimmy Ford. Here we are with Soulview, all right? Soulview is just a conversation beyond the drums. I want to know what's going on in your head. I want to know what's going on in your life. You've seen us play drums. You've seen us beat these cymbals and do that thing. But we're more than drummers. We have great perspectives and insights on things, especially in this time. We are living in absolutely crazy times. And we need to hear from people. We need to hear how our fellow musicians, our fellow brothers are getting through these times, as well as just what's going on in the life. So Jimmy Ford.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man?
Well, everything is, coming right along. We're just trying to get through these rough and turbulent times with this COVID-19 that's happening. And I feel for a lot of the musicians out there that want to get out and start performing and gigging and earning a living again, because it's really put a crimp in everybody's lifestyle. And, the entire world, it came to a total stop. And so we're just trying to cope with what's going on. I really feel for those who are going through these turbulent times. I feel for the victims who have succumbed to this horrible virus.
Yeah.
And my thoughts and prayers go out to those who have lost family members.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty rough thing.
It's a rough thing, man.
Yeah.
Jimmy, tell me, when is the last time you actually played a gig outside? When's the last time you did a gig, man? Because we've been indoors for a long time.
Yes,
Man. When's the last time you got behind the drums in the venue and really got a chance to play?
This was back in, I want to say February. Yeah, it's about back in February. Yes, back in February. And then, my day gig that I do is I'm one of the musicians at Disneyland.
Nice.
And I work in a Dixieland band called the Main Street Straw Hatters. And that fateful day that this whole thing came down was that when management came down to tell us that they are closing Disneyland because of the COVID-19. That was back in March 18th, I do believe it was. Yeah, it came down. Management told us that we're closing the park because of the virus, and that was it. And then we would be furloughed.
Yikes.
So everybody was kind of going, "Wow, we're going to be furloughed, really?" And so it was pretty dramatic, I would say.
Yeah, sure.
That's how we make our living.
Yeah, and just as musicians, if I don't touch my drums in a certain amount of time, I just get antsy.
Yeah.
I start going crazy, man. Folks, you don't want to mess with me if I ain't touched the drums and at least 2 days. If I ain't played no drums somewhere, listen, I'm snapping on people for no reason, because I just need to get that nervous energy out
and rightfully so.
Beat some drums,
That's
man.
right.
It's been. I think the last gig we did with Shaka Khan was maybe January?
Yeah.
January or February.
Okay.
And then we were supposed to have a run of gigs at the end of March.
Right.
And that's when they started shutting down everything.
Oh, sure.
And we got the, email, hey, such and such gigs are canceled.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when we were like, okay.
Yeah.
Now this is really hitting home.
That's right. And it hit home for a lot of us players that are at home, and we're going, well, what are we going to do? Well, we can practice. We can catch up on housework. We can catch up on other projects that you had going on. But I
that honeydew list?
Yeah, the honeydew list. Yeah, I got to still put up those security lights that I told I was going to put up.
Yeah.
But a lot of us have used social media and to reach out to our peers, constituents, to do music videos via social media, which is kind of another alternative to get back to playing your instrument.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful thing. Of course, it's nothing like being in a room or on a gig or stage or in studio, what have you, to actually have that interaction with one another. You can, feel each other's energy when you're playing your instrument.
Yeah, it's nothing like it.
It's a difficult thing. It really
Yeah,
is.
man. So you were telling me that you might have a couple of potential gigs coming up.
Yeah,
soon?
well, they're talking about reopening Disneyland on the 17th of July.
Okay.
So they're doing that. Of course, there's going to be a change with that, and it's going to make life very different. It's not going to be normal. It's going to be quite different than what we're used to. And then I had a friend of mine call me up and he said, "Hey, I've got a gig for you." I'm like, "Oh, the first COVID gig of the year," and so I'm excited about doing that. And great group playing some jazz. In fact, it's kind of a jam session.
Yeah.
Like a paid jam session.
I'll take it, man.
So I said, okay, let's do it. It'll be fun, and it'll get a chance to see folks that I haven't seen since the COVID thing went down, and it'll be great.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. That's cool. So, Jimmy, for those of you that don't know, Jimmy Ford is like an incredible, just all around drummer, right? But when he gets to that bebop, he gets to that big band thing, man, it's a wrap. It's all over. Everybody put your sticks up. Go ahead and put them back in your stick bag. 'Cause Jimmy Ford is in the building. He is an incredible jazz musician, but just all around incredible musician, just to give you that tidbit. But let me shift gears here,
Yes,
Jimmy.
yes.
We're living in some crazy times.
We are living in some crazy times.
Let's talk about what's going on with the civil unrest.
Yes.
What's your take on it, man?
Well,
how do you feel?
I'm just going to be real with everybody out there.
Please do.
I'm going to be real with you, Jerohn. Coming from a spiritual background, this is a spiritual battle that we are battling right now. It's
Yes, sir.
real.
Yeah.
It is real.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who don't believe that, I advise you to take a step back and look at the situation. I believe that this is being driven by a dark entity.
Absolutely. I can get with
Okay.
that. I can go there.
As far as the racism thing, it's gotten out of control. I feel horrible about what's going on. I feel for people. It shouldn't be about someone's skin color. Okay. For most of you who are watching this, you may look at me and go, "Oh, well, he's a white guy. He's just a white guy." I'm like, no, I'm not, folks. I'm a black man. Don't let the skin color fool you. Don't let the eye color fool you. Don't let the hair fool you, okay? I feel for black folks out there with what's going on.
Yes,
and
sir.
for everybody. It shouldn't be about skin color.
Yes, sir.
Who cares about skin color? When I see someone of a different color, of a different race, I don't look at them as such. I look at them as a human being, a person with emotion, with feelings, with ideas.
Yeah.
Character is number one in my book.
Yes.
You don't judge a person by the color of their skin. That's what Dr. King said. You judge a person by the character,
Yeah.
the content of their character. That's number one. And it should be about love and acceptance of one another.
And you can't judge the group. You can't.
You can't. How can you do that?
You look at me and you lump me in with the group, not
Yeah.
knowing anything about me.
Right. Exactly.
It's a hard thing.
Exactly.
And I'm guilty of it. I've done it.
Right.
Because that's how we treat police officers.
Right.
We look at the law enforcement as a whole and say they're all bad.
Right.
And the reality is they're not all bad.
No.
Right?
No, exactly right.
There are some bad apples.
Of course.
There's some bad apples in all facets of life.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean the entire group is bad.
Exactly. And so what happens with that, it makes it bad for the police officers who are there to do a job, and that means to protect and serve and uphold the law. That's their job. This whole thing with defunding the police, that would be a total disaster. You have to have law and order. Otherwise, we're back to the wild, wild west where everybody's packing. Okay, I believe in the Second Amendment, your Second Amendment right. Yeah, the right to bear arms for protection. Okay? But if we defund the police, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be disastrous. That's all I can say.
I think so too. There is a legitimate need for protection.
Absolutely.
And there are those who cannot protect themselves.
Right.
There are those who just at the very sight of law enforcement, they're deterred from doing bad. And that is a necessity. Right. Unfortunately, there are those in our society that want to do wrong, that want to do dirt.
Right.
They're bent on doing dirt.
Right.
It's just where their heart is. Right. Me personally, you have police, you don't have police. I'm not bent on doing dirt. I really enjoy my life, and so I'm not looking to steal or kill, rape anybody or anything like that. There are those who are just bent on doing that, and so for that purpose, you need protection.
Right, you need the protection.
You need the protection.
On the flip side of that, that's a good point what you said, Jerohn, about stealing and murdering and and doing all kinds of stuff. I try to live by God's commandments.
Yes.
And that's my rule that I live by.
There you go.
That's like my buffer zone. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that because God said not to do that.
There you go.
And I'm not going to disobey him. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But that's how I'm going to live my life.
Right. That's my aim.
That's my aim.
Yeah.
That's my aim. And so many people have fallen short of that. They've gotten away from that. In my heart of hearts, I believe this nation needs to be a godly nation.
Sure.
Again.
Sure.
We desperately need that.
Sure.
But people, you have to realize, stop and think, okay? Because that's what God gives you a brain, to think. Stop and think. What is going on in these times? It's good versus evil. And that's what's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes beyond race, that goes beyond culture.
Oh, absolutely.
That goes beyond ideology.
Absolutely.
It's simple. It's right and it's wrong.
Right.
It's good and it's evil.
Right.
And everybody has the freedom to think how they want to think. Everybody has the freedom to believe what they want to believe.
Sure.
Whether you're agnostic, whether you're atheist, whether you are Muslim, Christian, you're Jew, you're Buddhist, whatever your religious, your thought process is, it's a beautiful thing. Go ahead and think that. But there has to be some type of foundation that we all can say, yeah, this is wrong.
Right.
Where we come together and say,
right, we have a common
stealing,
ground. Yeah,
stealing is wrong.
Yeah, stealing,
murder. Come on, don't kill people.
Stealing, looting.
It's
pretty ridiculous. Okay, you want your voice to be heard, then do it the right way. Contact your congressman. Contact your governor, your mayor. Make it a positive thing, as opposed to burning down your own city. Why are you burning down your own city?
What sense does that make?
It makes no sense. You shop there, you live there, right? You go, you loot, you destroy, you go back home. It's like, oh, wow, yeah, I think I'm going to go to Wendy's today. Oh, wait a minute. We burnt down the Wendy's.
I think I'm going to go to the corner store. Oh, no, they shut that down.
I can't get milk for my babies. Now I got to go 5 miles out of the way to get food for my family. It makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
There's ways of going about it, and people, we got to be smarter. We have to be smarter about it. I'm not condoning that what happened to George Floyd was right.
Absolutely
that wasn't
not.
right. I was just talking to Jerohn. We were just having a conversation about the incident that happened in Atlanta.
Yeah.
To that one young man that was in the car in the parking lot. Police rolled up on him. Got out the car, and he did say to the police officer, yes, I have had a couple of drinks. Mm-hmm. My solution to that would have been for the police officer to say, okay, we're going to do the breathalyzer tests, come up with the results. Well, you're too impaired to drive. So I tell you what I'm going to do. This is what the officer should have told the young man. He should have told the young man, look, here's my business card. Here's my badge number. Hold on to that. I'm going to take your keys because you're impaired and you can't drive. Here's my number, call somebody to come pick you up, right? And when you're ready for your car keys, call that number. here's my badge number, here's my info. Call that number, come down to the precinct. We'll gladly give you your keys
There you
back.
go. You know, I think there is not enough serving.
Yeah.
Or whether we don't see enough cases of law enforcement actually serving the community. We see them stopping crime, preventing crime.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes harassing and
Sure.
and you know we get all the bad stories. Unfortunately,
Yeah, we do.
But we don't get enough of those stories where, you know, there's no crime being committed, there's no harm being done,
Right.
but the officers come to the aid just to help people.
And hey, listen, it's out there.
It
Believe me.
is. It's out.
You're right, Jerohn. We need to hear more stories like that. Yes, there are situations where there is a bad police officer involved who is on the force, who I'm pretty sure they bring their baggage with them, whatever it is, whether it's racism, rage, PTSDs, whatever, it's going to happen. And so when you get an individual that brings all that to a situation, and when they see a person of color, and depending on how this police officer was raised from his family, because racism is taught, you're not born with it.
There you go. That part.
It's taught, okay? So now you got a situation with an individual who's on the force, who's taught this, has had this, is going to act out on someone, a person of color. So therefore, guess what happens? It escalates.
And you know what? The same applies for urban youth. Some kids are taught that the police are bad.
Oh, well, yeah.
They're taught that the police officers are here to harm us
Right.
and to do us dirt.
Do you remember in school? I remember when I was going to school, we had like a kind of a show and tell program. We had like a presentation of professionals who were on the force, whether we're paramedics,
They would come in.
or fire department, or police department, or whatever. And we've had these officials come in, and they would dispel the myth about, you know, what they were about and how they were here to serve the community
Yeah.
and communities.
Yeah.
Whether it's Hispanic communities, Black communities, Chinese, whatever, man.
Whatever it is.
You know, again, the police are here to protect and serve. Yes, there are a few bad apples within the system, you know, and it makes it tough for the ones that are good. It really does.
So it's interesting.
It's unfair, really.
It's interesting that you bring up system, right? Because unfortunately, I am of the mind that the system is corrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the system is bad.
Yeah.
And you have good individuals that try to come and operate in this bad system.
Right.
And unfortunately, their hands are tied
Right.
because the system will not allow them to do the good that they should be doing.
That's absolutely.
And
it's happening today, right now.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. There's a systematic racism that's going on in our nation.
Right.
That goes beyond individual desires.
Right.
Because the system is bad.
Right.
You know, and somehow, some way, I know a lot of people aren't believers, but I'm a believer. And you know, things like that, when you're dealing with hardened hearts,
Right.
you know, God is the one that changes the heart.
That's right.
And really
That's right.
deals.
Removes the scar tissue.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of hurt in this nation, man. There's a lot of hurt.
Right.
You know, on both sides.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
but we're hurting.
Yep.
And it's a systematic thing. And you have good people to try to come into the system, and it to no avail.
Right. We need to break the chain. We need to break that chain. Because bottom line is, Jerohn, myself, and the folks here at Soultone Cymbals, we all bleed the same color blood. It's red.
And it hurts when I get cut.
And it hurts when you get cut. You know what I mean? It does. It really does. So it hurts me to my heart to see what's going on. All of a sudden, you know, the racism has gotten out of hand, out of control. And I'm not to say that there never was. Of course there was. But that goes back to the entity that I was talking about. There's good versus evil, and that's what's spurring all this on. You just got to stand back and check it out. You really do. I mean, because we're so flooded with the media of what's going on. What do we believe in? And do we believe in the numbers of deaths in the COVID and what's going on with this group Antifa and Black Lives Matter? Who's all behind this?
Right. Who's really pushing? Who's the puppet master? Who's pulling the strings? Who's making things happen? You know, I'm not going to turn this into a TBN meeting.
No.
A big church service. Right. But I want to reference a particular scripture. Bible says we fight not against flesh and blood. Right. But against principalities, right. Against rulers and darkness in high places, right? So when I look at Jimmy is not my enemy. I know Jimmy. I know his intentions. So if he does something to offend me, I have to realize that Jimmy is not my enemy. Jimmy is my brother. Jimmy is not my enemy. There has to be something behind the action.
Right.
Could have been a bad day.
Right.
Could have been another situation, could have been something. But I don't fight against Jimmy. That's my brother. Right. And at some point in time, somebody needs to take the stance and say, you are not my enemy. Police officer, you are not my enemy.
Right, exactly.
White guy, you're not my enemy.
That's
Black
right.
guy,
right.
You're
That's
not
right.
my enemy.
Right.
What's your name? Let's start there.
Oh, sure.
How about you just get to know who I am? Billy. How you doing, Billy?
Right.
All right, Billy. Now that I know who you are, let's talk.
Right.
You're a little drunk. I need to take your keys, Billy.
Right.
All right? Not, hey, what are you doing? Show me your hands. Da-da-da. Like you're just barking out directives and things, or, you know, you come at me based upon what you think you know about me.
Right. Exactly.
And not necessarily knowing who I am. Jimmy, we could literally talk about.
You know
this
what?
Forever.
That's a good point, Jerohn.
Yeah.
Where getting to know somebody, right? Instead of barking orders to someone, like with your kids, your children, okay? A lot of times when you discipline them, they're not going to hear you if your voice is up here. They're not going to hear you, okay? But if you have a situation where, you know, you have a police officer and a person of color and you start to do that, then right away they're fearful for their life, and it's like it just triggered something. You see, it just triggered something. What Jerohn said, hey, get to know the person. Here's the situation. You're a little drunk, Billy. You know, hey, let's you know, I'm going to take the keys from you. Here's my card. You know, totally diffuse that instead of adding more fuel to the fire.
You know, Jimmy, I watched a little video on YouTube. It was a guy, I think it was a different country. This guy was going crazy. He was in a police precinct. I think he had a knife. He was waving the knife at the police officers, right?
Right.
And the police officers were extremely patient. They were like,
yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
Talking to him. Hey, don't do this. Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Right.
Eventually, they diffused the situation. At the end of the video, they were embracing the gentleman.
Right.
Because clearly he had something else going on with him that had nothing to do with the officers.
Exactly.
And he was just acting out whatever type of anger he had in there. And the officers had enough mind to say, as opposed to attacking this guy, as opposed to doing him harm, let's wait. Let's see where his mind is at.
Sure.
You know, and he had some home issues. He had a whole bunch of stuff going on in his life. And when they diffused the situation, everything ended up okay on both sides. The officers were safe. The gentleman was safe. I think they took him to a hospital or something to get help, and everything was good. But there has to be a desire for the well-being of everybody involved,
and that's called protect and serve, like it should be.
let's switch the subject.
Yeah.
So we don't get too.
Yeah.
COVID.
COVID.
Is it real? Is it fake? What do you think, man?
It's real. You know, a lot of times I've been listening to talk radio. I love talk radio. I've been checking out the news. It's good to be informed. It's bad to get overwhelmed with it because a lot of times you get so wrapped up into what's going on. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You have to be informed. You have to, know what's going on. You need to be knowledgeable of what's going on. But these days you really don't know who to trust and what to believe. And there are other news sources out there that are straight shooters, and they're out there. The COVID thing is real. I tell people, take the proper precautions to protect yourself and, utilize the social distancing, and just be careful. Just be really careful. I feel that my opinion is that you don't quarantine healthy people. You quarantine people that are sick, that have the virus, but don't quarantine healthy people. I believe that last year I had it. I was sick 3 times really bad with it. And I had a cough that I couldn't shake. I had a fever. I had body aches. And I feel like I may have had it. I wasn't tested, being honest with you guys. I wasn't tested. But in my heart of hearts, I believe that I had it. But the COVID thing is real.
Yeah,
it really is.
I've heard people say that man, you remember earlier in the year when you were sick and you really didn't know what was going on and you couldn't breathe, man. You probably had this thing already and gotten developed an immunity and all that stuff. I've heard that that side of the story before, which might be true.
Sure.
I think that it is wise.
Yes.
There's a beautiful word.
Yeah.
It's wise to just err on the side of caution.
Absolutely.
It's just wise because you yourself might be as healthy as a bull, right?
Right.
With the virus.
That's right.
You might be carrying the virus and be as healthy as a bull.
Right.
But you might come into contact with somebody that is not as healthy as you are.
That's right. You could be a carrier.
You could be a carrier. You can be asymptomatic carrier.
Yep.
And not know it.
And that's what's happening. True cases are where people's young and old, their immune system has been compromised by whatever. They could have had a bout with bronchitis or they had the flu, the common flu, asthma, or some type of virus that that they would put them in harm's way. I'm a loss for words right now. Harm's way of the virus. It was compromised. That's the word I'm looking for. And a lot of the cases in the elderly, because of whatever is going on with them health-wise, they're easily to contract the virus.
Yeah. So, listen, folks, use wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom is your ability to use the knowledge that you have.
Right.
And make good decisions, make informed good decisions, putting others before yourself.
Yes.
What is best? I know we are all going crazy, locked up in our houses, not being able to move. And I know the world has opened up just a little bit, but the government does not govern my house. Right? The government does not govern my house. If I deem it unsafe or if I don't feel comfortable with going out yet, guess what? I'm not going out and my household is not going out.
That's right.
Based upon the wisdom and hearing from God and being prayerful and things like that. But you all definitely need to exercise wisdom and just a little patience. Listen, get you a couple of different versions of Monopoly. And play them all. Monopoly already takes 4 or 5 hours, so that's half of the day right there.
That's right.
Get the family around the table.
Yeah.
We got 5 versions of Monopoly. We're going to play them all.
There you go.
One version for each day of the week.
That's right.
Then get you a couple of Uno games.
Yeah, Uno, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Listen, I think PlayStation or Xbox is coming out with a new system real soon. Listen, we got stuff to do.
That's right. That's right.
Jimmy, man.
Yes, sir.
Again, you are I have come across in my years of playing and being a musician, I've come across tons of talented and skillful musicians, right? And so in my opinion, skill and talent and all of that good stuff is a dime a dozen.
Right.
What I really, really am impressed by is good people.
Likewise.
That's what impresses me.
Yeah, and you're on the top of my list.
You sound better as a musician when I know you're a good guy.
Oh,
you really do. I
yeah.
hear you differently because I say, man, how can such a cool dude play like that?
Yeah.
That got to be a little bit of arrogance or something in there, you know. But Jimmy, you are a pleasure.
Thank you.
To hang out
and
with,
likewise,
man.
thank you.
And I appreciate your time. You all, Jimmy Ford, check him out. Give them your social media handles and all of that good stuff.
Well, you know, I'm on Facebook, so you can hit me up on Facebook. It's Jimmy Ford. Instagram, because I bounce between Facebook and Instagram. It's Ford_drum_CO. And I'm on Instagram, so you can hit me up there. You can follow me. Just say hello. I'm on YouTube. Just type in Jimmy Ford. I'm on YouTube. I've done various videos for Soultone Cymbals. And yes, I'm very proud and it's an honor to be a part of the Soultone cymbal family. Check them out. They're great, great cymbals. Great people. Icky Levy and Tomer Rome and Laura in the office and just great. What a great family we have here.
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
The fabulous Jerohn Garnett.
Hey, man.
Amazing. Check out his gospel chops.
Hey, man.
Very happening.
I'm
Very,
glad
very
to be. I'm definitely
Beautiful.
glad to be in the number. Listen, folks, you all stay safe, stay wise, stay blessed. And me and Jimmy, we're going to beat on some of these drums over here. And you all be cool, all right? We'll see you on the next time.